We had the open forum. One of the issues we've already dealt with, but there is a recommendation. Let's go right to the resolutions. So with your support, I'm going to do that. Thank you. Otherwise, somebody will take me out back. So if I can have the first resolution, please put up on the screen. I don't actually have the package in front of me, so I'm just going to be reading. Okay, so we'll have the packages handed out, and I will have the first resolution, please put up on the screen. Also, just a note, when we have the closing, there was a request to do a blanket dance for donations for the walk. We did have the walker make the presentation. If you'd like to contribute, make an offering, that'll be done as part of the closing. If anybody sneaks out, please stay close by so we can include you in the count. Thank you. If anybody absolutely needs to go, please let us know and we'll try and figure out a way of making sure we have quorum. I'll get Chief Nakaji after you. Okay, we have resolution, I don't have it numbered. We can have this resolution that's on the screen numbered. So it's you want to do it? Yeah. Actually, I'll give it to co-chair Connie.
Okay, so this was resolution 2218. That's the appointment of the auditor for 22-23. So going to the therefore be it resolved that the NAN Chiefs and Assembly direct the Chiefs Finance Committee to oversee the competitive tender process and selection of the auditor for the 3-year term commencing fiscal year 22-23. Finally, be it resolved that the successful bidder be appointed and ratified at the, this kind of awkward spelling there, by the Chiefs. So just fix that a little bit. Chiefs and Assembly before 2023 Keewaywin, dated this 11th day of August. I need a mover. Okay. Chief, thank you. Robert Nakaji, seconder. Okay, I drew a blank. Name.
I still call him Chief.
Okay, Sutherland. Roxy Sutherland, okay. Any questions on the appointment? Any comments from the mover? Chief Nakaji?
I just want to say thanks to the team working with MNP.
Okay, thank you. Any chiefs from the seconder? Any comments from the floor? Any comments from the floor? Second call. Comments? Any abstentions? Any abstentions? Any opposition? I see none. Resolutions carried.
Thank you. Next resolution, if I can have it put up on the screen. I will just read off the screen. So we're just finalizing details on resolution 2218 that was just passed. So the next resolution, just wait, I'll just wait for, there we go, is numbered resolution 2219, titled Restructuring of the Chiefs Committee on Infrastructure and Technical Advisory Committee. I will go into therefore be it resolved. Therefore be it resolved, the Chiefs and Assembly approve and accept the revised terms of reference for the Chiefs Committee on Infrastructure, which from here on will be referred to as the Chiefs Committee on Housing and Infrastructure. Further be it resolved, the Chiefs and Assembly approve and accept the dissolution of the Technical Advisory Committee. Further be it resolved, the NAN Executive Council is mandated to seek new and additional resources to assess the committee's mandate and sustain its ongoing work. Finally, be it resolved that the work of the Chiefs Committee on Housing and Infrastructure shall be without prejudice to the existing and planned housing infrastructure projects of First Nations and tribal councils. I don't have a mover on record. Is there a mover to the resolution? Can I have a mover? Proxy Hardy, Moose Cree First Nation. Thank you. Seconder, Hardesty. Sorry. Is there a seconder? Look.
I'll second.
Thank you, Chief Nakaji. Any comments from the mover or seconder? Nothing from the seconder, nothing from the mover. Any comments from the floor? From the Youth Council?
I was looking at the terms of reference for this committee, and I don't know if I'm allowed to make any recommendations, but I feel like as an advisor council to the Chiefs Committee and all the committees that we sit on, we do not have a voice on this working group here. So I feel like that both Oshkarazik and women should be included on this group.
Thank you. So that's just a recommendation from the Youth Council. They are not a delegate, a recognized delegate on the floor, so it cannot make any friendly amendments. That has to come from the chiefs. So there is a recommendation to have the Youth Council recommend or recognized or included in the committee. Chief Nagaji.
I support that idea from the Youth and Women's Council to be represented. Please adjust the resolution. Thanks.
So the recommendation is to include the Youth Council and the Women's Council on the committee. I'm just looking at it, and I'm wondering about the terms of reference. Is that actually in the resolution, or is there separate terms of reference? It's separate. So the recommendation here on the floor is to include the Women's Council, Youth Council in that terms of reference. Can that direction just be given from the floor, or does that need to be included in the resolution? Yeah, I don't see the terms of reference in the resolution itself, so. So we can go ahead with this? Okay. So we will go ahead with the wording, and that's been acknowledged, and that will be incorporated in terms of reference. Thank you, Chief Nakaji. Any more comments? Proxy Casablanca.
Casablanca. I was just going to second that the committees for women and youth should be considered.
Okay, thank you. So that'll be incorporated in the terms of reference. Any more comments or questions? If not, do I hear a question? Question's been called. Thank you. Any opposition? Opposition? Any opposition? I see none. Any abstentions? Second call. Any abstentions? Any abstentions? I see none. All in favor? Raise your hand. Thank you. Resolution is carried. Okay, so next resolution we'll get right into, and I'm just going to wait for it to come up on the screen. It'll be, it'll just come up, and I'll just looking at our screen here. There we go. Resolution 2220, support for Casablanca Lake Community Health Hub. I'll read the therefore be it resolved. Therefore be it resolved that NAN Chiefs and Assemblies support Casablanca Lake First Nation in their pursuit of resources to construct and establish a community health hub building. Further be it resolved that the NAN Executive Council is mandated to support advocacy efforts as Casablanca Lake First Nation proceeds with a funding submission to Indigenous Services Canada and First Nation Inuit Health Branch for a community health hub building. Finally, be it resolved that the resolution is without prejudice to similar existing and future initiatives at the First Nation and Tribal Council levels. Dated at Timmins, Ontario, this 11th day of August, 2022. And I did have a mover and seconder. Do I have a mover for the resolution?
I guess I'd be the mover.
Okay, just for the record, if you can state your name.
Jordan Dunnigan.
Proxy for Casablanca.
Chief Tom.
Okay, thank you. If you can just, again, repeat your name. We've got Jordan.
Proxy Jordan Dunnigan.
Did you get that? Okay. Do we have a seconder to the support resolution? Chief Beardy, Wawagabiwan First Nation, thank you. Any comments from the mover or seconder?
Can we get that enlarged so we can see it?
Okay, if I can have it put up on the screen, apologies. I thought it was on the screen.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. Yeah. Proxy for Casablanca, any comments?
We'll just let the words speak for themselves.
Okay, thank you. Chief Beardy? No, okay. Any comments from the floor? Chief Wesley?
I believe something similar like this one through SLIFNA. Is there somebody that can clarify that?
So the question is, there may have been a similar resolution at SLIFNA. Is that the case?
No, SLIFNA had the Health Hubs program.
Okay. So I'm going to look to, this is basically a support resolution for the community. If there is something at SLIFNA, I'm going to look to the staff. If there's any technical staff that is aware or has any information in regards to Chief Wesley's question. Unfortunately, there's nobody that can, oh, okay, she's up in the rafters. I believe it's Georgina. So, Director of Health Transformation, Georgina is, I believe, making her way down. And hopefully can respond.
Chair, is this, what resolution is this? Is this 2020?
So this is 2220. I believe the packages that you got may not be numbered.
No, but I mean on the back part here, I don't see all that there. By the finally be it resolved, I don't see all the 1, 2, 3, 4 on there,
Okay.
on that resolution up there.
Apologies to everyone at the table. As mover, I would like to make a comment. I'd like to request moving directly to resolution revitalization of the role of the Anishinaabe, Aski, Oshkid, Tisak, All Young People's Council, and I'd like to make further comments, if you'll allow.
So you'd like the Youth Council recognized?
I would like to move directly to that resolution instead of this resolution. I would like to move that.
You'd like to move that resolution? What are we doing with this resolution?
You can put it on hold.
So either it's a pause and leave it here, or are we deferring it to another meeting, or are we withdrawing it?
To switch the locations of the package, move this one. It can, and then the health center can be moved to the last of the resolutions.
So resolutions committee, I think the question is, can we just table it to the last agenda item? And deal with it last. So I'm looking at the resolutions committee. That's fine? Okay, we will do that. Thank you. So there was a question. Georgina was right here.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on to that. So we'll hold on to that until we deal with that resolution. So you're requesting that we change the order, and which resolution would you like dealt with?
Move to the resolution to revitalize the role of the Anishinaabe Aski Nation Ushkatisak All Young People's Council.
So I'm looking to the resolutions team. There we go. That's the one. That's okay, we can deal with it. So it's resolution number 2221, revitalization of the role of the Anishinaabe Aski Nation NAN Ushkadizag All Young People's Council. If I can scroll down to therefore be it resolved. Therefore be it resolved that NAN Chiefs in Assembly reaffirm the role of the NAN Ushkadizag Council as the voice of youth from across NAN First Nation territory and as meaningful participants in the operations and governance of NAN. Further be it resolved, the Chiefs in Assembly direct NAN and the NAN Executive Council to ensure the full and meaningful participation of the NAN Ushkadizag Council in matters of NAN's operations and governance, and to ensure that perspectives of NAN youth, as represented by the NAN Ushkadizag Council, are included in NAN's operations and governance, including but not limited to ensuring Ushkadizag Council representatives, as agreed upon by the Ushkadizag Council, are invited to critical meetings, for example, Chiefs Committee and with provincial and federal government officials. Ooh, that was a mouthful. Further be it resolved that Chiefs in Assembly direct NAN and the NAN Executive Council to work with the NAN Ushkadizag Council to study and develop solutions to the ongoing challenges in achieving and maintaining meaningful engagement, including but not limited to performing a comparative analysis of similar councils and a legal review to strengthen and solidify the NAN Ushkadizag Council's mission within NAN bylaws. Finally, be it resolved that the NAN Ushkadizag Council shall report back to the NAN Chiefs in Assembly on the progress on these issues within 1 year. Dated at Timmins, Ontario, this 11th day of August, 2022, moved by Chief Russell Wesley, Cat Lake First Nation, who is here, seconded by, we have Tom Semple, but it
Proxy Casablanca.
proxy for Casablanca Lake First Nation. Chief Wesley, do you have any comments to the resolution?
Yes. Over the last few days, Scots have been addressing some concerns about their role within our leadership framework, and the fact that Scots have a youth council that are meant to provide a voice and input in relation to our future as Anishinaabe Aski people. The way we are now, that role is limited, and I wanted to support this resolution because we need to solidify the role of the Ushkadizag Youth Council by increasing their role in the activities that we're involved in, and there has to be an increased and meaningful participation by Ushkadizag at that level. And the purpose is that my opinion is that we're training these leaders, and we should give them that opportunity where they learn the ins and outs of leadership roles. Because some of these kids have 3 degrees, and they're heavily educated, and we should be making sure that they learn that leadership role that will eventually replace us.
Chief Wesley, proxy for Casablanca.
In the past couple of days, we have heard and discussed a great many problems: sexual abuse, poverty, homelessness, overcrowding, suicide, homicide, domestic violence, drug and alcohol addictions. These problems affect every one of us, our families and loved ones. These problems are not new. These problems are all connected. Who will help? I've heard great chiefs at this table who are at a loss for words, that we as leaders cannot do it alone, that the time for action is now. We are asking NAN to do more, asking the province and federal governments to do more, asking our women and elders, our men to do more. Casablanca Lake First Nation invited its youth this week to Timmins to learn, to see with their own eyes what their leaders are doing to make change for the better. We are asking for help. These youth are asking to help. The youth are experiencing all the same hardships as were listed, plus one. They feel they don't have a voice. As proxy for Casablanca Lake First Nation within NAN, I'm asking the fellow chiefs and proxies for support for this resolution. Let's give our youth a voice. Let our youth have a say in the shaping of their future.
Miigwech, proxy for Casablanca. The floor is open. Any other chiefs? Any comments or questions? Comments, questions from the floor or through the virtual platform? So I see none. With that, call for a vote. Get right into it. Any opposition to the resolution? Any opposition? Third call, any opposition? I see none. Any abstentions? Any abstentions? Any abstentions? None on the floor, and I don't think there's anything on virtual either. All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. Resolution is carried. Thank you for that. So I'm going to look to our resolutions committee. I'm not sure of the order. I've lost track of the order, so I'm just going to look at our screen to see the next resolution that comes up. There we go. Want me to keep going? So this is resolution 2222, NAN Chiefs in Assembly direction on revised draft COO mining resolution for further review, input, and consideration. So it reads, therefore be it resolved, NAN Chiefs in Assembly direct that a political technical committee be established to review, refine, and advance the proposed revised draft mining resolution for the further consideration, input, and review of interested First Nations across Ontario. Finally, be it resolved, the Chiefs in Assembly understand that there may be revisions and changes made to the revised draft resolution as it proceeds towards the next COO Special Chiefs Assembly, September 6th and 7th, 2022. Dated at Timmins, Ontario, this 11th day of August, 2022. Moved by Chief Bruce Achnibineska, Martin Falls, who is present. Seconded by Chief Ramona Sutherland, Constance Lake First Nation, who is also present. Any comments from the mover or the seconder? Chief Achnibineska.
Thank you, Chair. I've been asked to move this on behalf of my colleagues within my tribal council, First Nation chiefs, who I sit with. This was our meeting at the Matway AGM. We discussed this, and we felt that we needed to have a thorough review of the resolution that was put forward. I understand that it was tabled because of my colleague here, Chief Ramona, raising the issue, and I'll let her speak on that herself. But moving this resolution to ensure that our First Nations have time and have that input that with free, prior, informed consent, you know, at our disposal, in the discourse these days. You know, we really have to take that into account with these resolutions that affect our homelands and the potential future of our future generations. So this is the reason why we had come up and asked that we get some coordination on this important resolution that's going to be tabled again at the next coup meeting early September. So I'll keep it at that. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Chief Achinibeneskam, Chief Sutherland.
Miigwech. I'm not going to speak freely, but I'll read from a script so that I don't deviate from the collective sentiments. Here we go. Matawa Chiefs intervened at the last Chiefs of Ontario Assembly in Toronto on June 16th, when a draft mining resolution was proposed, requesting that the resolution be deferred until other First Nations had an opportunity to examine and review that resolution. The intent of the draft resolution here is to have a committee struck immediately to assist in reviewing this document. It is important for NAN to have a strong input in this process, given the potential mining developments in our territories. The Chiefs of Ontario want to coordinate a discussion on the issue, possibly next Thursday. So we need a quick action on reviewing this draft resolution and solidifying a strong NAN position. It is important for all NAN chiefs to know that this resolution will be dealt with again at the Chiefs of Ontario Assembly scheduled for September 6 and 7. So I'm going to just stick to my script. Miigwech, Chair.
Miigwech, Chief Sutherland. Are there any more comments or questions from the floor on the resolution before you? Any more comments, questions? Either in the assembly room or virtually. If there's any questions, just unmute yourself and speak up. Okay, I don't hear any, so I'm going to call for, I'll look around one more time, make sure we're good. Call for a vote. Any opposition to the resolution? Is there any opposition to the resolution before you? Third call, any opposition? I see none. Any abstentions? Any abstentions to the resolution before you? Any abstentions? I see none. All in favor, raise your hand. Get some exercise. Thank you. Miigwech, resolution is carried. Thank you. So we'll get right into the next resolution. And again, I've lost my order, so I'm going to have to watch the screen. For next resolution, there we go. Resolution 2224, titled Declaration of a Territorial State of Emergency. You have the resolutions before you, but we'll have it up on the screen, and I'll go to therefore be it resolved. Correction, so it's resolution 2223. Thank you. It reads, therefore be it resolved, if you can scroll up, there we go. Therefore be it resolved that the NAN Chiefs in Assembly mandate the NAN Executive Council to declare a territorial state of emergency for all NAN communities, calling for immediate action from the governments of Canada and Ontario to address the inequities devastating our communities. Further be it resolved that Chiefs in Assembly demand that the Government of Canada and Ontario acknowledge, accept, and act on its national and international obligations to enact all provisions set out in the UNDRIP. Further be it resolved that Chiefs in Assembly direct the Executive Council to engage both levels of government to advocate for funding and establish a clear and concise mandate to addressing the social determinants of health, with an emphasis on the following priorities. Number one, examination and strategy development addressing the opioid crisis, both prescription and non-prescription. Two, examination and strategy development of the current homeless crisis experienced by NAN members on and off reserve. Three, development and implementation of housing concepts to address housing crisis on reserve. Four, advocacy and representation in relation to provincial and national climate change initiatives, I believe. Is it just a typo there? And national climate change, is that supposed to be initiatives? Okay, initiatives which will affect NAN territory. And as I was reading, there was just some corrections on the typos. Finally, be it resolved that the development and implementation of this resolution is without prejudice to any similar existing or future projects undertaken at the First Nation or Tribal Council level. Dated at Timmins, Ontario, this 11th day of August, 2022. I don't have a mover on record. Is there a mover for this resolution? Chief Wesley, Cad Lake First Nation, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Is there a seconder to the resolution? Proxy for Flying Post First Nation. For the record, name escapes me.
It's Jamie Kay.
Thank you. So we have the mover and the seconder. Any comments, Chief Wesley, mover of the resolution?
Chief Muyas and I debated this in depth the last couple of days. And yesterday, prior to Chief Muyas departing, he was suggesting that there needed to be action undertaken on the various social issues that we have. Some of them are very critical and devastating. And then just this morning, we acknowledged the death of one of my members. Demonstrates how serious the issue is. We have deaths that are just impacting our communities every day. And there was a need for an action plan, and I'm not sure what Chief Munoz did with my notes. I had sent him a note yesterday prior to his leaving, but in there I was suggesting an action plan as to what the steps were that needed to be done. First of all, we need to gather all the data into a report in a presentable format. And I had also suggested that there was an opportunity, a save a date email was forwarded by ISK for the Ontario Joint Gathering in October. So I had suggested that would be the earliest date we would present an action plan in order for us to lobby and advocate for some of these really serious issues that we're facing. So this is why we need to do this. We need to do something very fast, and as I said, October is the earliest we can present something, and we need to have some kind of action plan where our knowledge keepers and outspoken groups can do the speaking for us at the same time. So those kind of action items need to go along with this resolution. Yes.
You're good, Chief Wesley. So I'm looking at the resolutions committee. I don't know if there's any clear text or clear wording, but I think what I'm hearing is mandating an action plan to be developed. is what I'm hearing. So I'm looking to the Resolutions Committee. Again, I have to be careful. I'm just moderating the discussion. I cannot add the actual words, but just for the committee's reference, Chief Wesley is stating that we do need a concrete action plan for action. So while the committee does that, there is the further be it resolved. And I'll go back to Chief Wesley. Also, just to help out, just to repeat what was already said, there was a recommendation that the action plan be presented. Did I hear October? I also heard 3 months.
Yeah, that's the earliest date that I suggest we have a solid, actionable item that we can address, where we can address these issues that we're facing.
Just to help facilitate this again, would you want it presented at the next NAN Chiefs meeting? I'm not sure if they know what the date will be, but if we say the next assembly, would that be enough? Or do you want specified date, let's say 3 months?
You're confusing me now.
So we want an action plan presented. We don't know when the next assembly is yet. Do we have a date yet? Okay. So we're not sure when the next assembly is. It might not be until January, but I'm also hearing you say October. So,
Yeah, well, we have, I'm not sure how our technical teams can pull together all of that data that we talk about. It's there. We have all that data. I asked a bunch of questions yesterday about what do we in fact know about these incidents that we're having. Well, it's just a matter of pulling all of that together into a report, and it can be easily put in for a half hour at the NAPS assembly, or a special virtual call can be arranged just to talk about this particular issue, or the report, I mean.
So I'm just looking right now, it says to be presented at the next Chiefs Assembly, which again may not be till January, so they're going to make a change. And I'll let them make that change. Okay, so here's the wording. Further be it resolved that the Executive Council is mandated to develop an action plan with concrete measures to implement this resolution to be presented at the next available Chiefs Forum. Does that do it? Okay, thank you. Thank you to, well, that was from the mover. Seconder, are you okay with it? Yes, okay. Any more comments? Again, there was lengthy discussion on this topic, very thorough discussion previously. Any more comments? I see none, so we'll get right into the vote or a decision. Any opposition to the resolution? Any opposition? Last call, any opposition to the resolution? I see none. Any abstentions? Any abstentions to the resolution? Any abstentions? I see none. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you, Chiefs. The resolution is carried. Thank you very much. And again, I've lost order. Do we have more resolutions? Two more resolutions. Here we go. Resolution 2224 is titled Affirmation of Homelessness Strategy. And it reads, further be it resolved that NAN Chiefs in Assembly affirm their support for the various homelessness strategies and initiatives by First Nations and their organizations, and mandate the Executive Council to advocate for such strategies and initiatives. Further be it resolved that NAN Executive Council will seek to raise the priorities of First Nations homelessness in the media, including interviews with people experiencing various levels of homelessness and their unique identifying concerns, addictions, mental health concerns, and the barriers First Nation members face. Further be resolved that the Executive Council will continue to support research evidence-based practices and data collection to continue with the planning and development of a comprehensive and effective strategy, including effective, culturally appropriate, and sustainable solutions. Further be it resolved that the Executive Council will work with First Nations, Indigenous organizations, municipalities, Canada, and Ontario on holistic solutions for NAN members in the areas of homelessness, including mental health, addictions, treatment services, land-based healing, housing, and specific supports for specific groups: youth, women, incarcerated, and others. Finally, be it resolved, the Chiefs in Assembly direct that an annual homelessness report be prepared for each Keewaywin Assembly to track this issue over the next 10 years. Dated at Timmins, Ontario, this 11th day of August, 2022. And I require a mover. Is there a mover to the resolution? Either in the room or virtually. Just speak up if you're on virtually. Is there a mover? We require a mover to the resolution. I'll say chief again. Proxy Tekwa Tagmo. Miigwech. You'll always be a chief. Seconder. Thank you, Chief Nagoji, Fort Albany. Any comments from the mover or seconder? No comments? Seconder?
I just like the fact that we'll start collecting data moving forward. Thanks.
Okay, Miigwech. Any comments from the floor? Any comments from the floor? I know there was extensive discussion on this during this 3-day session. But final opportunity, any comments? Chief Ajnibneskum.
Good day. I just want to be sure that that supports are there for our people when they leave the hospital. I don't really see that there. I could be wrong, but just at a glance at it, I have people that are out of hospital and homeless and nowhere to go. So that's and a lot of it is related to diabetes. And this is a failure of a health system to properly have holistic care.
Miigwech, thank you very much, Chief Ajnibneskum. Any final comments? So we have the resolution as it is. I don't think you were asking for any specific change, Chief Ajnibneskum. I didn't, nothing specific.
I think that it would be probably on the third for be it resolved. There could be some addition to health related circumstances.
So I'm just looking to the resolutions team. The fact is, from Chief Ajnibneskum, sometimes people end up dealing with homelessness as a result of dealing with health issues. So it's we will include that as one of the factors. Okay, there we go. So the addition is for NAN members in the areas of homelessness, including health and mental health, addictions, treatment services, land-based healing, and so on. Does that do it? Okay, Miigwech. If there's no more questions, no more comments, I'll call for a vote. Any opposition to the resolution? Any opposition? Any opposition to the resolution? I see none. Any abstentions? Second call, any abstentions? Last call, any abstentions? And I apologize, I got to do this. I'm supposed to do it slowly because of the people online. I see none. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Resolution is carried. Miigwech. I think we have one more. Okay, here goes. So we're going back to the resolution that was actually previously introduced, but I'm going to have to go back and reintroduce the title and the resolution number. So it's Resolution 2220, Support for Casablanca Lake Community Health Hub. I did read the resolution previously. I'm going to look to legal. Do I need to read it again? Yeah, we've already read it into the record. We have proxy here for Casablanca, and Chief Beardy is here. There was an opportunity for comments. Is there any more comments or discussion on this resolution? There was a suggestion, just to refresh memories, suggestion to look at the terms of reference to include the Youth Council. I now see why the order was switched. So there will be an incorporation of the Youth Council as well as the Women's Council. Any more discussion on this resolution? Any more discussion? Last call, any more discussion? I see none. So the resolution is before you. Any opposition? Any opposition to the resolution? Last call, any opposition? I see none. Any abstentions? Any abstentions? Any abstentions? I see none. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. Resolution is carried. So that concludes our resolutions. Thank you very much. That concludes my part. I just want to say, Chiefs, really good job. I commend you, and I want the people back home to know that you're really working hard, doing a good job. Long days, you work right through lunch, and you just keep going, persevering, and I want to acknowledge the efforts of the Chiefs. So with that, Miigwech, I'll turn it over to Connie.
Good job. So I know that we had, when we passed the agenda, that there was a opportunity to have an open forum, but I think we were able to do that throughout the meeting, so that's really good. So at this time, I'd like to call upon Grand Chief Derek Fox to make some closing comments and additional comments from anybody.
Thank you, chiefs and delegates and those online. And I just want to thank everyone that had a part in this as far as our assembly. It's our first Keewaywin we've had in almost 3 years. So thank you, chiefs, for the patience. 14-hour days. It's been long days, and we do it for our people. So I'm very happy to see the outcome. I'm wearing a sweater here, Camp Chickapeg. We were there this morning when I promised the youth, 70 young people from Mushkegowuk are over there, and they said, you better wear that sweater when you go up there to speak to the chiefs today. So I'm wearing it, and I'm very proud of them. They're out there doing all kinds of stuff, but I just wanted to acknowledge them. And thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Just a quick note, we have, as Adam said, January, we're aiming for end of January for the next Chiefs Assembly. Should things come up, emergencies, we'll do November is usually the time in the fall that we do it, end of November. So the executive and I will discuss that. And of course, I want to acknowledge the executive. I'm not gonna try to go through everything we talked about. I think we, as the executive, know we have a lot of work to do. We've made note of those things, and we will be reporting on that action, of course, at the next assembly and from now until then. But before I go, I asked our executive if they want to speak. I think Victor and Bobby are good, they told me. But Annabelle just wanted to share some real quick words, so if you could stick around for Annabelle. So thank you once again there, Chief Smigwich. Okay, we have a gift for the Northern College. Sorry, a name wasn't given to me. We got a painting here. Thank you for hosting the building. And of course, thank you, Metagami, for hosting also. Also, Chiefs, the buses are here for those who are flying out in half an hour.
Yes, yes. That's why I'm here. Thank you so much. I really. Yeah. Oh, I would have done better. I'm so sorry.
Take it right home. I'll leave it in the college.
All right. Student service.
The alumni.
Oh, are you really? So am I, to tell you the truth, and then here I am back at working at the college. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Go ahead, Annabelle.
All right, thank you, everyone. And I look forward to when we can meet again. And it's been such an honor to have this last 3 days with you. And, and I ask that in whatever you do, and whatever that you do for your community, that you always put the children first, just as what we have done here in the last 3 days. And we set up a blanket there when Danny, who is doing this walk, like he's not, he's looking to get a little bit of help for his expenses. So if there's anything that you're able to contribute to, please, the blanket is there for that. Miigwech.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
So if we can have the drum group. So if anybody wants to make a donation to, there is a blanket there. The drum group can come up. Are you doing the drum? And there will be a closing. They will be carrying out the Eagle staff and the. Yeah. Who's doing the prayer? And there will be a closing prayer, so the Eagle staff will be carried out. Barney's laughing at me. Yeah. Yeah, prayer and the drum in that order. So I'm going to call Barney to come and do the closing prayer. It's pandemonia. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Hell of a job, bro. Oh, geez.
Crazy.
You know, she's looking at everybody's eating. We're gonna.
Okay, so we'd like to do the closing prayer, then the drum. If we can stand, please.
the chair is having a bit of a problem trying to get things back in order again. Everybody's anxious to go home, huh? For sure. And it's not much wonder. It's been a long haul, hasn't it, eh? So I think we have some people's attention. You know, here's the thing. It's NAN's 40th meeting, 40th Keewaywin conference. And you know what we say at 40? Life begins at 40, don't we? So that then we are going to give life to things. So we're going to give life to the housing projects that we talked about, the social development. We choose life. And so that's what we're doing. So it's the way to the future is a long journey, and it requires healing and a lot of work. So yeah, so we give that life and away we go. And for me, you know, it's still, you like to thank the chiefs. It's a long meeting, you know, just to sit there and to be listening to things and trying to make sense out of what's happening, you know. It's a hard job. It's anxiety riddled, you know, what's coming next. And one of the things that always surprises me to no end is when I hear the word homelessness. You know, how in the dickens did people of Anishinaabe Ski Nation, our own people, become homeless? People of the land to become homeless. It almost seems impossible, doesn't it, eh? And it should be impossible. Back in my day, it was practically impossible to become homeless. There was always some place to go. That's the way life was. People cared for one another. Maybe we have to get back to that. Caring for one another. Place to stay, come here for a little while. Come and heal. I think we have to get back to some of that. Nevertheless, I have a story for you. And just pay attention to this just for a moment. It's my story, it's my life. When my grandpa was passing away, my grandma was sitting beside the bed. And there was a chair there with an arm on it. My grandpa tied my grandma to the chair. She took off her bandana and she tied him there. And as he was leaving, he told my grandma, "Now you stay and look after the kids." Tied her to the chair and said, "You stay and look after the kids." I always thought in my lifetime that was kind of hard for my grandpa to do that to my grandma. But then after I started to understand it, sometimes we do get tied to a responsibility, don't we? Now, when we look at the work that we've done here in the past few days, don't you feel a little bit tied to the responsibility that you've taken? We're tied to it. We need to do things. We have become a chief, a counselor, a leader, and we've taken on the responsibility, and sometimes we do become tied to it. We just have to do that job. And so it's just a teaching from my life in my time, and I hope that you can make some use of it, that you can relate it to someone, maybe your young ones or whatever, and just remind them that it's a large responsibility, and sometimes, yes, I am tied to it, especially when it comes to children. Nevertheless, as we then continue our travels and go on our own ways, we ask the Creator to give us safe passage to our homes, and that when we get there, we find our loved ones in good health. We thank the Creator for this day that He's given us. He's given us that opportunity to be able to make decisions on behalf, good decisions on behalf of the people that we're serving. We ask Him to continue to look over our right shoulder and give us guidance as we continue our journey and do the things necessary to look after our people. We again ask the Creator to be kind to those that might be suffering this day, those that might be suffering from some illnesses. We ask the Creator to be kind to those folks. And we also ask the Creator to be kind to those that might have lost a loved one along the way. So we ask the Creator to give them some peace and solace. And so again, we ask the Creator to come into our hearts and our own minds and give us a clear path forward so that good things might happen for us in our lifetime. And so we've come together in a good mind, in a good way, with a good heart, and we made some decisions that are dear to our people, and we are very thankful. And so now we will go on our own ways, and we will ask that let only the good spirits guide us as we continue our journey. So we say miigwech to everybody. Thank you so much. Drum.
So I've been asked, because of the way we opened the meeting, to close it also properly. So they want the delegates to come and grab their flags, and we'll do one circle around and then out. Yan ke jinda jagatek chi seko wen jinna isa jagatek we come out nanim. So the staff will help. If you can come and grab your flags, and any flags that are not taking, if the staff can carry them. Are you gonna carry the? Yeah. Take these ones too.
All the staff could probably come out there.
Yeah, so if the youth, the women's, and the staff can come and grab a flag, because we know that not all flags will have a carrier. Chimigoch? Chad?
Oh, I can't find it. Do you want to fold it and then do it if it's not there? Sure. Okay.
Tucson, that's Tucson, right? Tucson? This way, right? This way?
Yeah. Is there a single file first?
Flags, huh? We'll grab something.
I'm comfortable just standing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if they.
Yeah, because you can't have. Jose, Tushan? Ready?
Speaking of Soche.